Guys, just wanted to have a quick moment of silence for Henry Cavill. I know we haven't talked about it in a while, but a little while ago he announced that he's no longer gonna be playing Superman in the DC movies. Or is he? Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel McAdee's Entertainment. I'm your host, Adam McGahee. Today we're going to be talking about something, like I mentioned before, that it's news that happened a little while ago about Mr. Henry Cavill leaving the DC cinematic universe. I know we're not talking Marvel today. In the last video I talked a little bit about the new Venom movie. Today I'm rocking the Star Labs shirt, ready to talk about a little DC news. Ooh, and speaking of DC news, Titans launched today officially on the DC streaming service. I'm excited to check that out. And so yeah, and when you start, you get a 7-day free trial. So if you're looking for something new, dark, and gritty to watch, I'd strongly recommend checking out the show. Can't wait to check it out tonight. So a while ago, I know people were making a big fuss about Henry Cavill leaving the DC cinematic universe. And they're like, oh no, we're not gonna have Superman anymore. What's DC doing? You know, Batman vs. Superman was so bad. Total lie. Justice League was so bad. Half a lie, but yeah, that was kind of bad. But yeah, a lot of people really liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I personally thought he was fantastic. I mean, a lot of respect to Christopher Reeve as the OG original Superman. But for a new day and age, a new time that we're living in, I thought Henry Cavill has been a very timely Superman. I feel like him as Superman in these movies now would be quite representative if Superman really was real in our actual world. You know, a lot of people were saying that it's like, oh, he's not done. Other people were like, oh, yes he is. And I know people were talking about Michael B. Killmonger coming on board as Superman, and people are like, what's going on? At this rate, I know a lot of people are concerned about the direction that DC is taking with their movies. I know Aquaman looks really good. They just announced a new trailer last week at Comic-Con, and that looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. Shazam, of course, too, is looking awesome. I know it's got him flossing. I mean, what more could you want? I mean, look at the man floss. It's beautiful. But yeah, considering we're going kind of on board without a Superman right now, and Superman being arguably the most important character in the DC universe, people are kind of wondering where we're going right now. Now, in the statement mentioned a little while ago, Henry Cavill said that he's done as Superman. But does that mean he's done as Superman so he could play Superman? Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Adam, Superman? What are you nerd? What are you talking about? Well, that's exactly what this video is going to be about today. Two of my favorite Superman storylines of all time have been the death of Superman and the return of Superman. Two of the most popular comics in the Superman storyline, but still, two of my favorites. Batman vs. Superman has already handled the death of Superman. I mean, spoiler alert, I mean, the movie has been out for several years already, so if you haven't seen it, I'd go watch it. And then Justice League has then also handled the return of Superman. But did they really? I have a fun theory that the Superman who came back in Justice League is not really the real Superman. In fact, I think he's an imposter. And this imposter Superman that came back to life in Justice League, posing as Superman, may just rein in the reign of the Superman for Justice League 2. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Adam, what is the reign of the Superman? What are you talking about? Henry Cavill's done. Justice League 2 isn't happening. Well, I have a fun little theory video today that is going to dive into just what the reign of the Superman is, and how I think Henry Cavill is just pulling the wool over our eyes and is actually going to be leading into one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. So grab your popcorn, stay tuned, and be ready for the reign of the Superman. Death. It is the inevitable end that comes to us all. At one point in life, we have all questioned our own mortality and have wondered when we will die and what will happen after we pass on. We look up to fictional characters like superheroes, for they are the physical embodiment of the perfect person.
brave, heroic, kind, invulnerable, and immune from the hands of death. Superheroes are a reflection of who we all wish to be. That is why it came as such a shock to audiences in 1992 when DC Comics published The Death of Superman. Ever since his inception in 1938, the Man of Steel has been a symbol of hope, justice, and the American way. After suddenly losing his life by the hands of the monstrous Doomsday, it reminded audiences, both fictional and actual, that no one is truly invincible. This comic arc was so iconic that it even reached mainstream audiences and was reported by outlets like NPR, Newsweek, and the Washington Post. The comic brought in a total of $30 million during its first day sale, and ultimately sold more than 6 million copies, making it the best-selling comic book of 1992. The comic was so popular that part of it was even adapted to the big screen 24 years later on March 25, 2016, in the blockbuster Batman vs. Superman, with Henry Cavill returning to the role of Superman. After an intense battle with Batman, he and the Man of Steel put their differences aside to bring the fight to Lex Luthor and Doomsday. The film ends similar to the comic, with Superman and Doomsday dying, leaving the world in mourning of one of their greatest heroes. After this movie dropped, fans were unsure of how the Man of Steel would return until November of 2017, when the Justice League came to theaters. Although the film did not do the best job of representing the team of classic DC heroes, it did explore some interesting subject matter such as Darkseid's impending invasion of Earth, the creation of Cyborg, the formation of the Legion of Doom, and of course the resurrection of Superman. For those of you who have not seen the film, here it is in a nutshell. The evil tyrant known as Darkseid is seeking to take over the Earth using the power of mystical items known as Mother Boxes. He sends his henchman Steppenwolf to Earth to do the job. Batman becomes aware of this plan and decides to use his resources to put together a team of people to stop Steppenwolf. The team consists of Batman, of course, the Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman. After fighting through Steppenwolf's forces, the team realizes their only hope of winning is by trying to bring Superman back to life. They do this by digging up Superman's dead body by some weird magic of mixing one of the mother boxes Steppenwolf was looking for with a birthing chamber in the crashed ship of General Zod, who was the villain from Man of Steel. Superman comes back to life, however, does not seem to have his memory right away and sees the Justice League as hostile. Just as he's about to kill Batman, Lois Lane arrives to help him remember who he is, and they fly away. Batman and the gang go to fight Steppenwolf, almost die, and then Superman shows up to save the day. They beat the bad guy, and that's the end. Or is it? So far, both Batman vs. Superman and Justice League have taken elements from the death and return of Superman comics to tell one overall story. Now that Superman was revived, people were anxious to see what the future held in store for the Man of Steel on the silver screen. That is until September of this year, when Henry Cavill announced that he was no longer playing Superman. This enraged fans, who announced their anger all across the internet, for Cavill was one of the best parts of the DC cinematic universe. I mean, can you blame him? Look at that handsome face. That dude looked like he was chiseled out of heavenly marble. This has left fans, and probably Warner Brothers Studios, in question as to what exactly they're going to do next in regards to Superman movies. With solo films like Wonder Woman 2, Aquaman, and Shazam on the way, DC is still putting out content, but a void has certainly been left with Cavill's exit. After that news, there have been rumors going around that Creed and Black Panther star Michael B. Jordan may be replacing Cavill as the new Superman. While fans are divided about this rumor, I feel this is all part of an elaborate plan by Warner Brothers to set up possibly the greatest Justice League movie ever. What if Cavill's leave and Michael B. Jordan's introduction to the DC cinematic universe is exactly what we need right now? What if I told you that the Superman who came back to life in Justice League is not really Superman, and is in fact an imposter? You're probably saying, Adam, that's dumb. A black Superman? That will never work. And what are you talking about? Of course that Superman who came back to life is the real thing. Now, hold on and let me explain to you a little bit about a Superman story called Reign of the Supermen. This is possibly the second most important Superman storyline ever, for it almost immediately follows the death of Superman, and all leads to Superman's eventual resurrection. This story explores 4 separate individuals who take up the mantle of Superman after the original one passed away. These characters are the Cyborg, Superboy, Steel, and the last son of Krypton. The Cyborg Superman is a being who is exactly what he looks like. A cybernetic Superman who has the same genetic makeup of Superman. Superboy, who is a teenage clone of the original Superman. Steel, an engineer who built a high-powered suit of armor to carry on Superman's legacy. And finally, the last son of Krypton, also known as the Eradicator, who is a 200,000-year-old spirit from the planet Krypton. At first, all of these superpowered beings displayed traits and almost mirror-like abilities of the original Superman. All claimed to be the original Supes, except for Steel, who happened to be saved by Superman while he was still alive, and he wanted to honor him by helping others. Superboy becomes a real cocky, womanizing celebrity. The Eradicator carries out justice by violently brutalizing criminals, while the Cyborg claims to Lois Lane that he is indeed the resurrected Clark Kent, and even saves the US president from an assassination attempt, gains the trust of the US government, and is eventually hailed as the true revived Man of Steel. As events begin to unravel, it is revealed that the Cyborg Superman is an insane former astronaut named Hank Henshaw, who was on an experiment in space when a solar flare hit his ship and bombarded the entire crew with radiation. The crew momentarily gained powers similar to the Fantastic Four, but all soon died, including Henshaw's wife. Right before his body also died, Henshaw discovered that his power was that he could upload his consciousness into machinery. He was able to use the ship's tech to send his mind into a nearby spacecraft that turned out to be the exact same escape pod that brought Superman to Earth when he was a baby. He was then able to use the pod's birthing matrix to create a Superman clone body for himself with mechanical parts added in. He found out Superman was the one responsible for the solar flare that hit his ship, so he decided to come back to Earth for revenge. Upon discovering Superman was already dead, Henshaw decided to play up the role of being the true revived Supes, only to gain the trust of the public, betray them, and systematically destroy everything that Superman ever held dear. Henshaw revealed this plan to the Eradicator Superman, who vowed to stop him. The Cyborg Superman then brutally killed the Eradicator and destroyed a whole city, kidnapped Superboy, and begins his plan to take over the Earth. It is then revealed that all along the Eradicator was an ancient Kryptonian being whose spirit found its way to Earth, discovered Superman's dead body, brought it back to the Fortress of Solitude, made a clone body of it to possess it, and then kept Superman's original body as a battery that he used to absorb energy from. It's a little confusing, but follow along. Upon being defeated by the Cyborg, the Eradicator decides to revive the original Superman. The original Supes comes back, however weakened from the Eradicator taking his energy. He then enlists the help of Steel, Supergirl, and Superboy to bring the fight to the Cyborg Superman. The Eradicator is able to get his body repaired, and he also joins the fight, and ultimately sacrifices himself to save Superman. Upon being killed, his energies are returned to Superman. With his might fully restored, he destroys the Cyborg, and returns to being the Superman we all know and love. Now I know this story is lengthy, and couldn't possibly all be put into a movie, but I honestly feel elements from it can be used in a Justice League sequel. For example, considering the Eradicator was a Kryptonian spirit who inhabited Superman's body, it's possible that there could have been a surviving spirit that survived Krypton explosion in Man of Steel, made its way to Earth, and lingered in the Kryptonian ship or the Mother Box, and used the energy gathered while the Justice League attempted to resurrect Superman to enter the body. This would explain Superman's strange and violent behavior at first. This could also be the Cyborg Superman, who we learned about earlier, and he could have beamed his consciousness into the Kryptonian ship and then use Mother Box tech to hop into Superman's body. And then this could also possibly explain why Cyborg's arm cannon automatically went into attack mode when he first saw Superman in Justice League. See, in these movies, Cyborg's tech is based off of Kryptonian technology. Perhaps the Kryptonian tech noticed something off, something foreign inside Superman's body, and decided to act accordingly to remove the threat. This would also explain the robotic look to Superman's face in the movie. Haha, psych, it's just poor CGI to get rid of that mustache. Nonetheless, I think this would be a really interesting storyline to pursue. Everyone is currently happy, for they believe Superman is really back, when there's actually something far more sinister going on. If the studios take this route, they could even have this evil Superman reveal eventually lead to Batman's vision from Batman vs. Superman, where he encountered an evil Superman ruling the Earth with Darkseid's minions. So if DC is to play their cards right, I think the eventual Justice League 2 can be a Reign of the Superman movie. The rumored Michael B. Jordan Superman can end up being Steel, because Steel is indeed black, and Jordan would be perfect for the role. They could cast a younger Cavill lookalike to play Superboy, and cast Cavill as either the Eradicator, the Cyborg, or heck, why not both? Cavill says he's done as Superman. However, neither of these characters truly are Superman, are they? Then if Warner Brothers really wants to, they can play it off that when the real Superman is resurrected, it can be a totally new actor. If done correctly, this could be a highly intriguing Justice League tale. Just imagine the whole Justice League going toe-to-toe with a full-on evil Superman as the villain. This could even tie up loose ends with Ben Affleck as Batman, who could take the place as the Eradicator and sacrifice himself to stop the Cyborg and help resurrect the true Superman. It was even confirmed by Zack Snyder that Batman was initially going to die in Justice League 2. Now, all in all, this probably won't happen, but hey, it's only a McAdee's theory.
Oh, hey, welcome back. So I'm glad you got a little chance to check out that theory video of mine. Pretty interesting, huh? So, do you think Henry Cavill is coming back? I think so. It's time to stop mourning the man, suck it up, and realize that he's coming back. Superman is coming back. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe like always, and leave a comment below whether you agree or disagree with this theory, and let me know your interesting ideas on how you think Superman could come back, and what's the future of the DCEU. I'd love to know what you think. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.